Before we begin, I must address an important procedural matter. The scientific consultant of today's doctoral candidate, Sapиевой Aliya Sagundikovna, serves as the chair of our dissertation council. In accordance with the regulations, she is recused from her duties as chair for this session to avoid any conflict of interest. As a deputy chair, I will assume the responsibilities of presiding over today's meeting. Now I declare the session open. Please ensure all electronic devices are muted to avoid interruptions. According to the regulations of the Dissertation Council of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, 4 members of the Dissertation Council are permanent and 3 members are temporarily appointed for the period of the doctoral defense based on the research topic. The permanent composition of the Dissertation Council was approved by order number 435 of the chairman of the board, director of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, dated September 13, 2024. The temporary composition of the Dissertation Council was approved at meeting number 8 of the Dissertation Council on February 17, 2025. 6 members of the Dissertation Council are participating in the meeting. Permanent members of the Dissertation Council: Sannikov Vitaly Grigorьevich, Deputy Chairman, Doctor of Geographical Sciences, Professor of the Department of Meteorology and Hydrology of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Good afternoon, dear members Council. Medeo Akhmetpar Akhmetolayevich, Doctor of Geographical Sciences, Professor, Chairman of the Board of Institute of Geography and Water Security. Akhmetpar Akhmetolayevich.
Микрофон.
Microphone. Akhmetpar Akhmetolayevich.
Ну, пошел этот, по-моему, микрофон включать.
Okay. Okay.
Виталий Григорьевич, я здесь.
Okay, thank you. Scientific Secretary, PhD, Associated Professor of the Department of Geography, Land Management and Cadastre of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University.
Good afternoon, I'm here.
Thank you. Temporary member of the Dissertation Council. Lina Zhong, Professor, Dean of the Chinese Institute of Big Data Research and Culture and Tourism of Beijing International Studies University, Beijing, China.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Tokpanov Yerkin Ayupovich, candidate of Geographical Sciences, Associated Professor, Department of Natural Sciences of Ilyas Zelsugurov, GTSU University, Taldykorgan, Kazakhstan. Yerkin Ayupovich.
Erkan Ayupovich. Erkan Ayupovich. Толмацва. Микрофон. Микрофон.
Микрофон.
Саламатсыздар ма?
Okay. Azizam Aziz, PhD, Associated Professor, Dean of the Faculty of Forestry and Environmental of University on Putra, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Hello all. Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you so much.
Official reviewers. Mutalieva Laila Maratovna, candidate of economic sciences, professor, head of the Department of Tourism at Lev Gumilev Eurasian National University, Astana, Kazakhstan.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm here.
Thank you. Yaroslav Mika, habilitated doctor, head of the Department of Tourism and Health Resort Management of Institute of Geography and Special Management at Jagiellonian University, Krakow, Poland.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, under the proceeding of this meeting, our preliminary examinations have been completed. It is necessary to note that a quorum is present. More than 2/3 of the members of the Dissertation Committee are present. The temporary members of the Dissertation Council are also present. The agenda of today's meeting is a defense of the dissertation submitted by Sapieva Akmaral Zhilspayevna, titled Assessment of the Multiplier Effect of Tourism and Recreational Activities in Kazakhstan's National Parks for the Sustainable Development of Tourism, for the degree of the Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the specialty 6D 090200 Tourism. The work was carried out at the Department of Recreation, Geography and Tourism of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. The dissertation defense is conducted in the formal of a series of scientific articles eliminating the requirement for a traditional dissertation manuscript. Scientific consultants: Aktembayeva Aliasa Gandrikina, candidate of Geographical Sciences, Associated Professor, Dean of the Faculty of Geography and Environmental Sciences of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Dear colleagues, partners, thank you.
Thank you,
I'm
Aliasa.
here.
Thank you. Tamara Rats, PhD, Professor of Yanis Kadalani University of Applied Sciences, Budapest, Hungary. The dissertation work has been presented for defense for the first time. All members of the Dissertation Council have materials and have had enough time to familiarize themselves with the content of the dissertation work. Dear members of the Dissertation Committee, do you have questions regarding the agenda, comments? If no, I now invite the Scientific Secretary, Musagalieva Ayjan Nezbekovna, to present a summary of the documents in the candidate certification file. Please, Ayjan Nezbekovna.
Thank you. Dear members of the Dissertation Council and all those present, allow me to introduce information about the doctoral student and read out the list of documents available in the doctoral student's personal file submitted to the Dissertation Council. Sapieva Akmaral Zhilspayevna enrolled in 5B 090200 Tourism undergraduate program in the Faculty of Geography and Environmental Sciences at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University in 2011 and graduated in 2015. In 2015, Akmaral Sapieva enrolled in 6M 090200 Tourism Master's Program at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University and graduated in 2017. In 2018, she entered the PhD program at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, specializing in 6D 090200 Tourism. She is currently a senior lecturer at the Department of Recreation, Geography and Tourism of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. The personal file of Akmaral Sapieva contains the following documents: a request addressed to Rector of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, an excerpt from the meeting of the Academic Council of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University approving the dissertation topic and academic advisors, copies of diplomas of higher and postgraduate education, a copy of the transcript of the doctoral program certified by the place of study, abstracts in Kazakh, Russian, and English, reviews from local and foreign supervisors, protocol of the enlarged meeting at the Department of Recreation, Geography and Tourism of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, dated February 7, 2025, with a positive conclusion from the department, approved by the member of board vice rector for academic affairs of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. A list of scientific works on the dissertation topic and their copies, and reviews from 2 official reviewers. Based on the dissertation materials, 3 articles have been published, which are included in the Scopus and Web of Science databases. This includes 3 articles in Q2 journals of Web of Science. In addition, 6 articles have been published in journals recommended by the Committee for Quality Assurance in the sphere of science and higher education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The doctoral student has also presented 7 conference papers, obtained 3 acts of implementations, and holds 8 certificates of authorship. The materials submitted by the candidate, Sapiyeva Akmaral, comply with the dissertation defense requirements of the Committee for Quality Assurance in Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. She is allowed to defend her dissertation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayjan Yazbekova. Are there any questions or comments from the council members regarding the documentation? If not, we shall proceed. I invite Sapieva Akmaral Zhenizbayevna to present the main findings of her dissertation. Akmaral Zhenizbayevna, you have up to 20 minutes for your presentation. Please begin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, respected members of the Dissertation Council, reviewers, and the guests. My name is Akmaral Sapieva, and today I am honored to present my doctoral dissertation titled Assessment of the Multiplier Effect of Tourism and Recreational Activities in Kazakhstan National Parks for the Sustainable Development of Tourism. This research was conducted under the supervision of my local advisor, Associate Professor Akınbayeva Lisabindikna, and my foreign advisor, Professor Tamara Ratz from Kazakhstan University in Hungary. Let's briefly outline why this research is relevant. In Kazakhstan, tourism in national parks is expanding, but the multiplier effect, meaning the extends economic and the social benefits from tourism, remains largely enhancing. Despite clear development potential, we still don't fully understand how tourism in these areas contribute to local economy and or communities. At the same time, national parks are already recognized in state programs such as the Tourism Development Concept, the presidential addresses of 2020 and 2024, also UNDP initiatives, and etc. How, in the terms of the overall goal, here is the research aim: to identify and assess the multiplier effect of tourism and the recreational activities in Kazakhstan National Park using a comprehensive approach to analyze economic, environmental, and social aspects in order to develop recommendations for sustainable tourism development in these areas. This aim really brings together 3 key dimensions of the economy, the environmental, and the society through the lens of tourism. Let us now briefly highlight what's new and practical in our research. First, quantitatively assess the economic impact of tourism in national parks using the input and output models. This had not been done before in Kazakhstan. Second, we calculated the recreational load limits for different zones of national parks, including wide, active, and protected areas. Third, based on sociological service, and we analyze how local communities provide tourism and what role they play and the developed ways to better engage them. And finally, we propose policy recommendation to support sustainable tourism, balancing growth and environmental stability. We base our research on four main sources. First, official statistics and input-output dates. Second, detailed maps of the national parks. Third, fieldwork including service in interviews with local communities, and additionally, state land imagery to assess land use and tourist activity. The mix gave us a full picture: economic, spatial, and social. In terms of theoretical, of our research built on the three key areas. First, the economic impact of sustainable tourism. Second, the role of local communities, and the third, the concept of the tourism carrying capacity. All of this help us build a strong evidence-based framework for the practical part of the study. So after building our theoretical and methodological base, we moved on to define the core positions we defend in this dissertation. Each of these positions is supported by data and analyzed together came from foundation of what we defended today. Let us begin with this first defendable position, which focuses on the economic outcomes of tourism. Assessment of the multiplier effect of tourism and educational activities in national parks of Kazakhstan using the input-output models and the analysis of direct and indirect and induced effect allow for identifying key economic determinants and mechanisms for the distribution of tourism revenue in the regional economy. This position was confirmed through a case study, Buratau National State Parks, the findings of which were published in the first article. First, expenditure care a chain of economic impact in direct, indirect, and induced effect. This in the interconnected structure explain why tourism has for the managed economic consequences. However, to quantify this relationship, we need a reliable model. To calculate the total impact of tourism on the economy, we adapted input and output models and we used a set of formulas based on a marginally propensity to consume. This calculation allowed us to determine the tourist expenditure multiplier, the tourist income multiplier, and the combined multiplier effect per tourist. These values give us a measurable and responsible way to understand how tourism generates added value throughout the system. Based on the collected data, we developed a comprehensive scheme illustrating the movement of tourism-related income in around Buratau National Parks. This model tracks the flow of resources from the visitor to provide operators within the park, enterprises in supporting areas, indirect beneficiaries, and the tax revenue contribution to public services. The result of multiplier economic structure that integrates tourism into the regional economy. This enables us to draw clear conclusion about the value added by park-based tourism. The calculator shows that in 2023, tourists spent almost 20 million tenge in Buratau Park. The total economic effect after applying the tourism multiplier exceeded 56 million tenge. More specifically, every 1 tenge spent by tourists generated in additionally 2.84 tenge in regional expenditure. And every 1 tenge on income led to an additional 2.578 tenge of local income. These findings provide solid empirical evidence for the first defendable position. determinate that national parks act as effective economic multipliers that benefit the border region not only ecologically but economically as well. Having examined the economic multiplier effect of national parks, we now shift to a no less important dimension of sustainability, the engagement of local communities. After all, no matter how significant the economic contribution, they cannot be sustained unless the people who live near these parks and are directly involved and benefit from tourism. Let us now present the second defendable position, which is promoted based on our research in the Autonomous National Park. The socio-economic involvement of local communities in the development of national parks has a significant impact on the sustainability of tourism. The use of survey and interview methods allow for assessing public perception and participation levels in tourism activities, as well as evaluating the potential for local entrepreneurship. To defend this position, we conducted a field survey of 201 residents from two key villages, Bashi and Nurum. These areas are located within and around Autonomous National Park and represent both accessible and remote communities. Our methodology includes structural questionnaires, weighting indicators based on the sustainable parameters, and focus on the age, education level, and the gender participation, which help to firm the engagement capacity. Using our weighted indicators, we calculated comprehensive sustainability index across 4 domains: environmental, social, culture, economic, and political. To defend our understanding, we analyzed 18 individual indicators grouped by dimension. Key insights include residents are well informed about biodiversity in the cultural heritage, but economic indicators like employment, income generation, and investment access include lows. This gap clear shows that while the community is willing, the ecosystem for participation and entrepreneurship is underdeveloped. The individual participation are also refused in system challenge includes in economic and social impact, environmental and political aspects. Luckily, we mapped out the barriers by the domain. Ecologically, awareness is strong in Burst village. Social, showed more activity participation. Economically and politically, Nurum larger significantly than Basham. This refers the need of target intervention, especially in remote settlement, to help residents engage more fully in sustainable tourism effects. Thus, based on this empirical result, the second defendable position has been sustained. The social economic involvement of local communities is essential for sustainability for tourism in national parks. Without comprehensive visibility through education, inclusion, and entrepreneurship, long-term search will not be possible. Let's now turn the third defendable position, which has addressed one of the most pressing challenges in tourism and the conservation: how to reconcile the protection of natural ecosystem with the growing demand for nature-based tourism. Determining the tourism carrying capacity of national parks in Kazakhstan based on the analysis of recreational loads, theoretical zoning, and the implementation of adaptive management strategies is a key tool for ensuring the sustainable development and the conservation of natural resources. While the concept of carrying capacity itself is not new globally, our study introduced and uniquely localized interdisciplinary and adaptive methodology tailored specifically for Kazakhstan's national and institutional context. What makes our approach novel is the engagement of multiple dimensions for not just ecological capacity, but also infrastructure, availability, seasonal factors, and even psychological indicators. These indicators allowed us to go beyond theoretical thresholds and assess how trees preserve overgrowing and how this influences their certification and the behaviors. The level of voluntarily Israeli Athlete Institute of Central Asian National Parks, making our approach the first of its kind in Kazakhstan. To calculate geologic threshold, we adapt and localize international formulas for our setting. This includes modifying Levy and the standard methodology for our zoning and climate conditions. Our original contribution also lies in development and detailed matrix of perceivable irrigation road for 50 tourist roads according for micro-level environmental indicators and visitor behaviors. We centralize variables that really concert together, such as landscape fragility, psychological comfort, trail accessibility, protected status, and to produce price and etc. This methodological innovation makes our framework scalable and transferable to other protected areas in Kazakhstan and beyond. In addition, we conducted a comprehensive SWOT analysis, not just for the park's natural assets, but for its institution resilience. This helped in the identify scientific development gaps, such as the lack of strategic planning and the insufficient capacity in tourism service. Addressing the weaknesses is a core part of the recommendation for adaptive management strategies, making the study not just describe but deeply applied in nature. And finally, our research confirms that tourism carrying capacity is not a static number. It needs constant recalibration based on environmental conduction, infrastructure development, and visitor expectations. We introduced a psychological model originally developed in European context and adapted it to Kazakhstan. It highlights strong links between certification levels and environmental quality, offering a new lens for managing visitor flows. Our recommendation of differentiated load limits 5 people per hectare in flight zones and 2,100 in activity zones receptions. The first attempt of formulas such parameters in the reduced context of Kazakhstan national parks. In short, this defendable position contributes a scientifically grounded, operationally useful and locally adapted solution to the challenge of balancing conservation and tourism in protected areas. Now that we analyze the multiplier effect, the role of local communities, and the importance of carrying capacity and the zoning, we are really ready to present a fourth defendable position. This one building on evaluating the LRD concerns and the benefit is together into a signal structure planning model. A fourth one model of this spatial organization of national parks with differentiated economic multipliers, enhancing the efficiency of managed natural and economic system compared to traditional approaches. In essence, preserving a new way to organize space within national parks, one that grounded in depth reflects how different zones function ecologically and economically, and gives managers a particular tool for sustainable management. So why was this model necessary? Well, throughout our research, we noticed recurrent gaps in the way tourism and the conservation especially managed. Many parks rely on outdated 2 or 3 zone systems that don't reflect the conceptually of today tourism dynamics. They don't distinguish between economic growth of different areas, and they often include local communities from decision making. We integrated these findings in 4-zone model for strike protection zone, buffer zone, recreational zone, and socio-economic zone. Each zone is assessing its own economic multiplier based on actual data. That means decision makers can first forecast impact, allocate budget, and guide visitor flow more effectively. So to conduct this course, the defendable position is both conceptual, sound, and implicitly grounded. Its transformation for the preserves 3 position into a flexibly evidence-based model that support long-term sustainable development across protected areas. To conclusion, this dissertation presented in the first integrated analysis of the tourism multiplier effect across Kazakhstan national parks, combining economic, environment, and the social perspectives. We achieved all research objectives: quantified expenditure and the income multiplier in Buratau, defined tourism paying capacity threshold in Khatun-Karagöl National Parks, assessed community perception in Altyn-Nemel, proposed a 4-zone special model is a practical framework to align conservation goal with regional economic benefits. In essence, with work of authors not just analyze but direction, a scientific compass for the future of protected areas in Kazakhstan. Based on these findings, this study processed the 10 particular recommendations aimed at enhancing sustainability, improving park governances, employing both communities, and maximizing the economic and ecological benefit of tourism in Kazakhstan national parks. In additionally to the main dissertation outcomes, a number of supplementary results we achieved conferring the scientific and practically valid of the research. They include articles, monography, copyright certificate, and acts of implementation. Thank you.
Finished?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Akmaral Junispaevna. The presentation is concluded. I now invite council members to pose their questions. Please introduce yourself before asking, and let's ensure one question at a time for clarity. Council members, your questions?
Dear colleagues,
Dear colleagues? Professor John, can you formulate your question for our doctorate? Professor John?
Yeah. Hello?
hello, yes.
Hello?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for for letting me to ask the question first. First of all, I would like to thank you to express my sincere gratitude to the university for the invitation and providing me with this valuable learning opportunity. Actually, I think Ms. Akmara and Sapieva's doctoral research is really did a good job. The 3 articles actually you submitted demonstrate a very clear and well-defined research focus, and they are all on the national parks of Kazakhstan. Actually, meanwhile, I hope during your defense you can further elaborate on the following questions to better demonstrate the depth of the research. Actually, my first question is about the tourism economic multiplier effect. In your research on the tourism economic multiplier effect, you mentioned that the degree of local economic integration and infrastructure quality significantly influences the multiplier. I do agree. Can you elaborate specifically on how these factors affect the circulation and the diffusion of tourism revenue within the local economy in Kazakhstan? Yeah, this is my question.
Thank you for your question. Also, Ismail, please respond.
Thank you for your question. Yeah, in local economic integrate and the infrastructure, a key to who effectively tourism revenue crucially risking at this dissipation. When local businesses such as guest house, restaurants, or cart shops are involved in tourism supply chains, the spending remains in the local economy. This creates strong indirect and induced effect, meaning that money is spent multiplied times locally. And in contrast, when surveys are provided by essential operators or depend on important goods, much of the income leaks out, reduce the multiplier. Infrastructure plays a supporting role. Without good roads, clean weather, reliable energy, ecology, local business cannot grow or serve visitors properly. To strengthen multiplier effects, I recommend prioritizing infrastructure that directly support small local enterprises, training program for local entrepreneurs, and the political that promote local serving and local stakeholders and the partnerships with the park tourism systems. This can lead to more inclusive and realistic tourism economics in national parks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you satisfied with the response? Sure.
Yes, I think it's very clear. Could I raise question 2 or?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, my second question is about the second paper. It's about the ecological and psychological comfort coefficients in carrying capacity. And actually, you in your articles, you calculated the ecological tourism carrying capacity and the ecological coefficient and the visitors' psychological comfort coefficient. I want to, could you please explain the specific measures you implemented during your field research? Because what's different measures you do to ensure the accuracy of the data collection and the reliability of your research results? Because that is very important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. John, for your question. You're right. This coefficient review carefully handling due to the subjective nature. That's why I used a mixed method approach during field work. For the ecological coefficient, I am combined exacting ecological data with direct field assessment, such as erosion sinks and vegetation cover, and build this through interviews with park rangers and ecologists. For psychological comfort, we conducted with psychological comfort, we conducted visitors survey asking about crowding, noise, and certification to increase relatively with greater response in both higher and lower seasons on complemented them with behaviors observations such as time spent in different zones. Also, this combination of quantitative and qualitative data along with the cross checking from local experience help ensure that coefficient be accurate and context specifically.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, actually, my third question is about the third paper is about the residents' perception. Actually, in your study, you're addressing the residents' perception and attitudes towards the tourism development in national parks. How did you measure and ensure the validity and the representativeness of the residents' perception data? Because I noticed your data is from 200 examples, right? Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Dr. John. The ensure validated responsibility. I use a certified sampling method based on age, gender, and occupation covering to village near Altın Gimel. Survey were conducted face-to-face to build trust and reduce messenger things. We included both structured questionnaire on economic benefits, corners, and all, etc. And the open-ended response, while allowed us to explore deeper ways and cross-check consistency. However, some factors influence participation, such as season variation, recent infrastructure projects, and the level its trust through level of trust. We address this by conducting survey with informational interviews and implementing it in date of the content.
Okay, thank you. And the last question. Actually, I have been to Kazakhstan, and I really think the national parks are really, really beautiful here. And I think it's I think of great importance of the national economy and the social importance. Actually, in your research, you want to do the better management of the national parks, and you provide a series of policy recommendations for national park management. But actually, could you please say more about the practical challenges or barriers that might arise when you implementing these recommendations, such as financial constraints or stakeholders conflicts? And how did you advise the management teams to adopt in order to effectively address these real-world obstacles?
Yeah, common challenge include financial limitation, competing stakeholders' interests, and limited technology capacity in park administration. This can be a delay or weakness the implementation of sustainable tourism strategies. To address them, I recommend starting with low-cost pilot projects, providing targeted training for staff, and establishing regular stakeholders geology platforms. Additionally, forming participation with the university in national projects stakeholders or international donors can help secure funding, and the technical support. These strategies promote adaptive, inclusive, and realistic implementation of policy recommendations.
Какие именно точные, что конкретно ты предполагаешь дальше?
Yeah, master plans also invest in staff training, and also staff with pilot projects in selection zones, and also additionally some services, services in the park. For example, youth camp, maybe glamping, guest houses, maybe glamping zone, camping, maybe, and also souvenirs zones, etc. And handmade materials made.
Okay.
Yeah,
John,
okay.
are you satisfied? Your response?
Yeah, I think it's she really did a really good job and delivered an excellent presentation and addressed all the questions. And I do think her works are really meaningful for Kazakhstan. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for your very interesting questions. Erkin Aipovich, do you have questions?
Microphone.
Microphone. Erkin Aipovich, microphone.
Mikrofon kosas var.
Erkin Aipovich, microphone.
Ладно, это другого. Если МИДа, да, можете, может быть, МИДу попросить экспертов, может быть,
Извините. Каковы были научные и методологические обоснования выбора трех конкретных национальных парков Буратау, Хотон-Карагай и Алтынбел в качестве объектов для тематических исследований и в какой степени они являются репрезентативными для оценки эффекта мультипликатора туризма, пропускной способности и местного восприятия экотуризма в более широкой системе охраняемых территорий в Казахстане. Первый вопрос. Второй вопрос. Как выводы из трех тематических исследований были синтезированы в единую научную модель и какие шаги необходимы для масштабирования и интеграции этих моделей в национальную систему охраняемых территорий Казахстана? Спасибо.
Thank you, for your question. We selected these three parks to relate the ecological, socio-economical, and ecological, economical, and social indicators. Buratau is located in the steppe region with low visitor numbers and limited infrastructure, which makes it a good state for measure the basic economic impact of tourism. Хотон-Карагай National Park, it is larger and mountains park with higher ecologically sensitive national parks. And Altınyeşil, on the other hand, Altınyeşil National Park, it is more activity tourism, seen and growing local involvement and allowing us to analyze community perceptions of ecotourism.
Да, на русском повторю.
Мы взяли эти 13 парка, потому что они расположены в разных географических точках Казахстана. Например, возьмем если Биратал, национальный парк Биратал, он находится в Акмолинских и Карагандинских районах Казахстана. Там национальный парк менее популярен среди Катон-Карагай и Алтын-Емель. И почему взяли Катон-Карагайский национальный парк? Катон-Карагайский национальный парк – это один из самых больших национальных парков в Казахстане. Еще там можно оценить экологические проблемы, так как в национальном парке Катон-Карагай развиты экологические тропы. А Алтын-Емель это мы взяли, так как тоже находится в разных географических от других национальных парков зоне. Алтын-Емель более-менее развита, чем Катон-Карагай, и здесь находятся рядом местные сообщества, например, как Баши и Нуром, и можно было провести анализ и взять эти рекомендации рядом с этим, этих деревнях. Местных сообществ, да.
Все у вас? Эркин Аюпович, вы удовлетворены ответом?
Микрофон.
Еще можно добавить то, что эти 13 парка туристы, получается. Биратал самый низкий уровень показателей, то, что у них приезжает очень мало туристов. Катон-Карагай это самый высокий, так как очень много исследований, и там сравнительно по статистике там приезжают очень Катон-Карагай. Алтын-Емель это находится рядом с Алматы и такое популярное место.
Okay, thank you, Акмарал Исмаиловна. Эркин Айпович, вы удовлетворены ответом?
Да, спасибо, все очень хорошо.
Спасибо. Доктор Азлизам Азиз, do you have questions? Доктор Азлизам Азиз. Okay.
Может быть, рецензенты задают вопрос.
Okay, I have several questions. How did you verify the accuracy of the data on tourist expenditures? And readiness in national parks, especially given the informal nature of parts of the tourism economy in Kazakhstan? Engagement, private accommodation, transport services. To what extent can you multiplier values be trusted?
Thank you for your question. To ensure that reliability are used traditionally by cooperating quantitative surveys, qualitative interviews, and the official park data. For example, ecological sensitive assessments were supported by both field observations and expert input from park staff. Visitor participation that were cross-checked with behavior, partners, and seasons trends. As for the recommendations, they are grounded in a real case studies from the national parks, which makes them both evidence-based and adaptive. They relevantly lies in the fact that they reflected the diverse ecological, economical, and social conditions, and were weighted through multi-source analysis.
Thank you. Second question. You highlight low levels of local community engagement in tourism services. In your view, what are the main institutional or legal barriers preventing greater involvement, and how sustainable is your proposed model for community participation in tourism?
Thank you for your question.
Высокая поток.
Well,
Yeah, just a moment.
Что ты предлагаешь?
First of all, employment and income generation, investment and the state revenue, community involvement, environmental tools, and the political and management. The main and the conservation efforts, it's our regular forms for more higher participants on national parks.
And improve ecological and cultural view. Yeah.
okay, thank you. Dear reviewers, do you have questions for our Dr.
I have one question.
Please.
Профессор Уталиева. Можно, да?
Please, пожалуйста.
How does the differentiated assessment of economic multipliers to each zone within the four-zone model support data-driven tourism planning? And what are the implications for regional budget allocation?
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yeah, assessing specific economic multiplier to each zone in the four-zone model provides a clear picture of where tourism generates the most impact, both directly and indirectly. For example, recreational zone often generates in highlights direct revenue that in turn fuels food service and transports. Second zones, but it is socio-economic zones, which includes village tents and produced stronger, included and indirect effects such as the increased demand for local votes, informal transports, and stakeholders. By calculating those specific multiplier, we can identify which zones generated the highest return on investment both economically and socially. In terms of planning, this helps local houses and the park managers prioritize funding. Its third zones, and also immediately this different approach improve budget transformation, support target development, and strengthen link between tourism planning and the sustainable growth at the regional level. Also,
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you satisfied with this response? Okay, thank you. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, are there any more questions? If this is enough, let's move on the next step. I now invite the domestic scientific consultant, candidate of geographical sciences, associated professor, dean of the Faculty of Geography and Environmental Sciences of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Akhtembayeva Aliya Sagandikovna, to present her review. Please, Aliya Sagandikovna.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear partners, thank you very much your time, your question and your attention for our dissertation work and our research team. Thank you. Let me read my review of this doctoral research. Review of the scientific advisor on the dissertation work of Akmaral Denispayevna Sapieva, assessment of the multiplier effect of tourism and recreation activities in Kazakhstan's national parks for the sustainable development of tourism, submitted for the degree of doctorate of philosophy, PhD, is the specialty 6D090200 tourism. Currently, global tourism development trends are based on the principle of sustainable tourism, which requires studying its potential positive impact on the environment, economy, and society. In this context, the dissertation by Akmaral Denispayeva, titled Assessment of the Multiplicative Effect of Tourism and Recreation Activities in National Park of Kazakhstan for the Purposes of Sustainable Tourism Development, represents of relevant scientific study. The research is conducted in the National Park of Kazakhstan and aims at a comprehensive assessment of the economic, social, and environmental impact of ecotourism and recreation activities. The dissertation develops a methodology for calculating the tourism multiplicative effect using the national parks of Katan-Karagay, Buratau, and Altan-Emel as case studies. This methodology allows for elevating the impact of tourism and on regional economic development, environmental conservation measures, and the well-being of local communities. The dissertation has scientifically grounded systematical structures, is planned in accordance with the stated goals and objectives. The novelty of the research lies in the development of the methodology for assessing the multiplicative effect of ecotourism in national parks, which can later be applied to other natural reserves and specially protected areas. Moreover, the study is distinguishable by the extensive use of modern economics and statistical methods, geoinformatics system technologies, and qualitative research methods serve as expert evaluation. One of the significant scientific results of the research is its publication in high-ranking Scopus journals. First, the article assessment the multiplier effect of national park, a case study of Buratau State National Park in Kazakhstan, provided a detailed analysis of the tourism multiplier effect in national park and this impact on regional economic development. Second, the article balancing natural and visitors of sustainable development, assessing the tourism carrying capacity of Katan-Karagay National Park, Kazakhstan, emphasizing the importance of determining the ecological carrying capacity of economic ecotourism and provided recommendation for sustainable tourism development. Third, the article Sustainable Development of Ecotourism in Altan Yemen National Park, Kazakhstan, assessment throughout the reception of residents explores the role of local communities in the development of ecotourism and sustainability, the importance of their involvement. The dissertation includes a vast array of scientific, theoretical, methodological, and practical materials relevant to the state topic. The author has studying international experience in ecotourism management and provide important recommendation for its adaptation to the condition of Kazakhstan. The results obtained in the course of the study have not only theoretical significance, but only practical applicability. In particular, they are already being utilized in the development of Sustainable Tourism Action Plan in Kazakhstan National Park. Overall, Akmaral Sapieva's dissertation represents a modern scientific study that aligns with current trends in the field of tourism and is based on the solid scientific and methodological foundation. Her research is aimed at developing comprehensive measures of ensure the economic sustainability of national parks, the conservation of natural resources, and the improvement of local communities' well-being. The results and recommendations obtained can contribute to the enhancement of state policy in the Republic of Kazakhstan in the fields of tourism and environmental protection. Furthermore, the dissertation funding have been presented at international scientific conference and have received high recognition from the academic community. The dissertation of Akmaral Sapieva submitted the preliminary defense under the education program 6D090200 tourism meets the requirements of the community for control and assistance in the field of education and science of the Republic of Kazakhstan. We believe that PhD candidate Akmaral Sapieva is worthy of defending her dissertation under this program. Scientific supervisor, candidate of scientific in geography, assistant professor of Alfred Kazakh National University at Sapiewa. Thank you very much your attention, your look, our dissertation.
Thank you, Alias Dikovna. Before we proceed, I must note that Professor Tamara Ratz, our esteemed foreign scientific consultant, is regrettably unable to join us today. Her writing review, which remains an integral part of this defense, will be read about by Musagalieva Ajani Yazdekovna to ensure her evaluation is fully considered. Please.
Thank you. Review of the foreign supervisor for PhD dissertation. This review was prepared based on the journal papers written by PhD candidate, in each case as a co-author in a relatively large research team. All three papers were published in Sustainability, an open access journal that is included in the register for science and scientific journals series and publishers with 0 points. However, it also provides high visibility and has a 5-year impact factor of 3.6. Since the scientific value of such journals is evaluated differently around the world, here I add it only as a comment that it would have been advisable for the candidate to select more than one journal for the dissemination of her work. The candidate is the last author of one paper and the first author of one paper. However, she is not the corresponding author for either articles. In case of manuscript-based doctoral thesis, most universities require at least 2, but usually more papers of which the student is the first author. However, in the current PhD process, it's sufficient for the candidate to be the first author or the corresponding author of only the one article, and this creation is met. Similarly, the requirement that in case of publications arising from collaborated projects, the doctoral candidate's individual contribution must be documented and confirmed by the project partners has also been fulfilled by Admiral Sapieva. The 3 articles include a relatively detailed explanation of each co-author's contribution. Each of 3 papers addresses distinct but interconnected challenges of sustainable tourism in Kazakhstan's national parks, contributing significantly to the discourse on conservation and tourism management, a relevant research topic on international level. Together, the articles provide a comprehensive view of sustainable tourism, addressing environmental conservation, economic impact, and visitor management. They are highly relevant to both academic research and practical policy making. The novelty of the research arises from its focus on Kazakhstan's national parks, which fills a research gap in Central Asian tourism studies. The use of GIS MCDA for ecotourism planning is a relatively novel approach in the region, and the application of economic multiplier effects in an emerging tourist destination context adds valuable insights for tourism policy. The studies employ rigorous methodologies and data collection techniques, ensuring validity and contribution new insights to sustainable tourism research. The Altyn Emel National Park study used surveys, GIS MCDA, and sustainability indices, providing a robust assessment of local perceptions. The Buratau National Park study applies input-output modeling to quantify tourism's multiplier effects, offering empirical evidence of economic benefits. Finally, the Katon-Karagay National Park study integrates carrying capacity models with real-time monitoring and comfort approach, presenting new innovative ways to manage visitor flows. The methodological diversity applied in the evaluated studies enhance the credibility of the scientific results presented and discussed in the articles. The reliability of the research is ensured by using diverse and reliable data sources, including surveys, satellite imagery, and economic models, and by supporting the conclusions drawn by the authors with empirical evidence. The replication potential of the methodologies also strengthens their scientific credibility. The findings of these studies have both theoretical and practical implications. From a theoretical perspective, the paper contributes to sustainable tourism theories by integrating environmental, economic, and social dimensions in an internationally underrepresented destination. In addition, the research has refined tourism carrying capacity models, demonstrating their applicability in ecologically sensitive areas, while the economic analysis of multiplier effects has expanded our understanding of tourism's role in local economies. The Altyn Emel NP study emphasizes community perspectives, which is crucial in sustainable tourism discourse, highlighting local residents' role in ecotourism development. The Buratau CNP study extends economic impact, analyzed by applying the multiplier effect, a well-established but often overlooked concept in national park tourism studies. The Katon-Karagay study applies tourism carrying capacity analysis, addressing a crucial yet challenging aspect of visitor management in ecologically sensitive areas. From a practical point of view, the three manuscripts together address a variety of issues that are faced by sustainable tourism planners, developers, and practitioners. The Altyn Emel National Park study suggests specific policy recommendations for balancing conservation and tourism growth. The Buratau National Park study provides a framework for policymakers to maximize economic benefits while maintaining sustainability, whereas the Katon-Karagay National Park study offers a structured methodology for monitoring visitor impact, which can guide national park management strategies. In conclusion, the three papers collectively offer a multidimensional view of sustainable tourism, particularly in the context of Kazakhstan's national parks. They provide valid and novel scientific results, integrating environmental, economic, and social factors. Their methodologies ensure reliability, and their findings have strong theoretical and practical significance. Together, they offer a valuable framework for sustainable tourism development in protected areas. However, due to the highlighted focus on Kazakh content, the studies lack a strong comparative dimension with other countries, including references to global best practices in sustainable national park management in Costa Rica, Canada, or Kenya, could have strengthened the article's international relevance. The papers would have also benefited from greater integration between studies. The findings could be synthesized into a broader sustainable tourism model specific to Kazakhstan or Central Asia, incorporating environmental, economic, and visitor management factors. In further studies, a stronger methodological rigor, expanding sample sizes, incorporating sensitivity analysis, and using adaptive modeling technologies would enhance the findings' scientific validity, and more actionable policy recommendations could be provided for national park authorities to implement sustainable tourism policies effectively. Future research directions could include the investigation of the long-term economic resilience of national parks, assessing how tourism income fluctuations after local economies, measuring the environmental trade-off or increasing tourism revenue, as well as examining the role of digitalization in tourism marketing and revenue generation in Kazakhstan's national parks. Based on the above evaluation, as the conclusion of my review, I recommend that Sapieva Akmaral Zhinspayevna be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Tamara Radz, Head of Tourism Department, Professor of Tourism, Budapest. Thank you.
Thank you, Evgenia Zdekovna. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, we now proceed to the reviews of the official reviewers. I now invite the first official reviewer, Nutalieva Laila Maratovna, candidate of Economic Sciences, Professor and Head of the Department of Tourism at Lev Gumilev Eurasian National University, to present her review. Please note that while her writing review was submitted in English, but Professor Nutalieva will deliver her remarks in Kazakh, and an interpreter will provide simultaneous English translation for the benefit of all participants. please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, guests and members of the Dissertation Council. Қайырлы күн, құрметті диссертациялық кеңес төрағасы, кеңес мүшелері, қатысушылар. Рецензент ретінде шақырып, сенім білдіргендеріңіз үшін алғыс білдіремін. 6D090200 туризм білім беру бағдарламасы бойынша философия докторы PhD дәрежесіне іздену үшін ұсынылған Сапиева Ақмарал Женспаеваның Assessment of the Multiplier Effect of Tourism and Recreational Activities Kazakhstan's National Parks for the Sustainable Development of Tourism тақырыбындағы диссертациялық жұмысына рецензент ретінде берілген пікірмен қазақ тілінде қысқаша таныстыруға рұқсат етіңіздер. Бекітілген шарттарға негіздеме берілген. Ұсынылып жатқан диссертациялық жұмыс Қазақстан Республикасының президенті Қасым-Жомарт Тоқаевтың экологиялық туризмді дамыту және табиғи мұраны сақтауға қатысты жолдауында белгіленген. Диссертация тақырыбы бірқатар мемлекеттік бағдарламалық құжаттарға сәйкес келеді. Диссертациялық жұмыс экологиялық туризмді аумақтық ұйымдастыру арқылы Қазақстанның ұлттық парктерінің тұрақты дамуын қамтамасыз ету тақырыбы бойынша жоба аясында орындалған. Жұмыс ғылымға елеулі үлесін қосады, ал оның маңыздылығы ашылған. Жұмыста табиғи мұраны сақтай отырып, туризмнің әлеуметтік экономикалық тиімділігін арттыруға көмектесетін нақты ұсыныстар берілген. Диссертацияда қойылған мақсат, міндеттерді шешуге бағытталған және ізденуші тарапынан орындалды. Автордың ұсынып отырған докторлық диссертациясының шеңберінде нәтижелер бойынша ғылыми жұмыс жарияланған. Қазақстанның ұлттық парктерінде туристік және рекреациялық қызметтің мультипликативті әсерін бағалау, оның тұрақты дамуға қосқан үлесін анықтау үшін маңызды. Бүгінгі таңда Қазақстанда ұлттық парктеріндегі туризмнің мультипликативті әсерлерін сандық және сапалық тұрғыда бағалауға бағытталған кешенді зерттеулер жоқ. Зерттеу нәтижелері мемлекеттік органдар, ұлттық парктерді басқарушы құрылымдар, туристік индустрия өкілдері мен сарапшылар қауымдастығы үшін тиімді басқару шешімдері мен тұрақты туризмді дамыту стратегияларын әзірлеуде сұранысқа ие болады. Диссертацияның мазмұны диссертация тақырыбына айқындайды. Мазмұны оның тақырыбымен тікелей байланысты, себебі үш зерттеу де Қазақстанның ұлттық парктеріндегі экотуризмнің тұрақты дамуын кешенді түрде талдауға негізделген. Диссертацияның тақырыбы, мақсаты мен міндеттері тақырыбына сәйкес келеді, жүйелі түрде орындалып, тақырыптың концепциясын қанағаттандырады. Диссертацияның барлық бөлімдері мен ережелері мақалаларының логикалық толық байланысқан және ғылыми негізделген дәйекке ие. Автор ұсынған және шешімдер дәлелденген, бұрыннан белгілі шешімдермен салыстырылып бағаланған сыни талдаулары бар. Диссертацияның ғылыми нәтижелері мен ережелері қорытындылары толығымен жаңа. Деректер сенімді болып табылады, тұжырымдар күмән туғызбайды. Қорғауға шығарылған негізгі ережелері дәлелденген. Диссертациялық жұмыстың нәтижелері ғылыми зерттеулердің заманауи әдістері мен деректерге өңдеу технологияларын қолдану арқылы алынғанын берілген мақалалардағы тәсілдер дәлелдейді. Мақалаларда келтірілген теориялық тұжырымдар, модельдер, байланыстар жүргізген эксперименттік зерттеулер арқылы расталған. Маңызды мәлімдемелер нақты және сенімді ғылыми әдебиеттерге сілтемелермен расталған. Диссертация жоғары практикалық маңызға ие. Мақалаларда ұсынылып жатқан тәжірибелік ұсыныстар жаңа болып табылады, себебі олар Қазақстанның ұлттық парктерінде контекстіне бейімделген ерекше тәсілдерге негізделген. Жазу және рәсімдеу сапасы өте жоғары. Академиялық жазу сапасы жоғары, дербес аяқталған жұмыс. Диссертация бойынша ешқандай қарсылығым жоқ. Жұмысы бойынша қазіргі. Докторанттың мақалаларының ғылыми деңгейі түпнұсқалықтың және ғылыми маңыздылықтың жоғары дәрежесін көрсетеді. Мақалалар жинағы түрінде қорғау талаптарына толық сәйкес келеді. Өзімнің шешімім Сапиева Ақмарал Жеңісбаевнаға 6D090200 туризм, білім беру бағдарламасы бойынша философия докторы PhD дәрежесін беруді ұсынамын. Ресми рецендент Лев Николаевич Гумилев атындағы Евразия ұлттық университеті туризм кафедрасының меңгерушісі, экономика ғылымдарының кандидаты профессор Муталиева Ләйля Маратқызы.
Thank
Рахмет.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ләйля Маратовна. And thank you to the interpreter. According to the review, there are no comments on the dissertation work. Yes? Okay, please translate.
Let me present the review in the English language. Justification of the position of the official reviewer. The dissertation submitted was a degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the educational program 6D09022 Tourism Alliance with the address of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, regarding the development of ecotourism and the preservation of natural heritage. In his address, the President emphasized the importance of promoting sustainable tourism as one of the priority areas for the country's economic growth and environmental responsibility. The dissertation topic aligns with several state policy documents, including the economic course of a just Kazakhstan, New Kazakhstan, the path of renewal and modernization, the concept for the development of rural areas of the Republic of Kazakhstan for 2023-2027, the concept for the development of the tourism industry for the Republic of Kazakhstan for 2023-2029, the state program for regional development for 2020-25, and others. The dissertation was carried out within the framework of the grant project number AP 088-55-888, titled Ensuring the Sustainable Development of Kazakhstan's National Parks through the Territorial Organization of Ecotourism, funded by the Science of Committee of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan from the state budget. Importance for science. The work makes a significant contribution to science and its importance is well demonstrated. The dissertation focuses on a crucial issue assessing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities, as well as the ecological, economic, and social consequences of increasing tourism activity. The chapter dedicated to the interaction between governmental structures, the private sector, and local communities deserves special attention. The study is distinguished by its scientific depth and comprehensive approach in analyzing the sustainable development of tourism in Kazakhstan's national parks. Notably, the dissertation highlights recommendations for the implementation of sustainable technologies and the improvement of environmental monitoring systems. The work presents practical proposals that contribute to enhancing the socioeconomic efficiency of tourism while preserving national heritage. Principle of independence. This dissertation is aimed at achieving the set goals and objectives and was carried out independently by the applicant. With the framework of the doctoral dissertation, the author has published 10 scientific papers in Kazakhstani and international scientific journals and international scientific practical conferences. This includes 3 articles indexed in Web of Science and Scopus databases, 3 articles published in journals recommended by the Committee for Quality Assurance in the Field of Science and Higher Education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, 5 publications presented at international and national scientific practical conferences, including events held in Almaty, Astana, and Bucharest, Romania. Assessing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities in Kazakhstan's national parks is crucial for determining their contribution to sustainable development. National parks, with their unique natural and cultural resources, stimulate the development of related industries, create jobs, and strengthen regional economies. Given the global focus on sustainability and environmental responsibility, this study contributes to optimizing resource management, improving tourism quality, and balancing economic, social, and environmental interests. Within the framework of the State Program for Tourism Development until 2025 and Kazakhstan Sustainable Development Strategy, evaluating the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities has gained particular importance. This effect accounts not only for the direct economic impact of tourism, revenues from visitors, infrastructure development, but also for indirect outcomes, such as increased employment for local populations, higher tax revenues, improved social capital in regions, and the growth of small and medium-sized businesses. Furthermore, induced effects must be considered as they manifest in enhanced quality of life for local communities and increased environmental awareness among the population. Currently, comprehensive studies of the quantitative and qualitative assessment of tourism's multiplicative effects in Kazakhstan's national parks are lacking. Existing approaches are often fragmented and fail to simultaneously address the environmental, economic, and social dimensions of sustainable development. Therefore, developing a methodology for assessing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities is a relevant scientific challenge that responds to the demands of modern economic and environmental sustainability. Thus, the dissertation research not only addresses contemporary challenges but also provides scientifically grounded recommendations for utilizing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities as a tool for sustainable tourism development in Kazakhstan national parks. The study's findings will be in a high demand among government bodies, national parks management structures, representatives of the tourism industry, and the expert community for developing effective management decisions and sustainable tourism development strategies. According to paragraph 5, subparagraph 2 of the document on the approval of the rules for awarding degrees of the Ministry of Education and Science of the Republic of Kazakhstan dated to 31st March 2011, number 127, registered with the Ministry of Justice of the Republic of Kazakhstan, the dissertation is presented in the form of a series of 3 articles published in journals included in the first and/or second quartile by impact factor. According to the journal citation reports by Clarity Analytics, in one of the scientific fields relevant to the content of the dissertation. In one of the articles, the doctoral candidate is the first author or the corresponding author. The content of the dissertation directly reflects its topic, as all the 3 studies are interconnected through a comprehensive analysis of the sustainable development of ecotourism in the national parks of Kazakhstan. The first article examines the economic aspect, assessing the multiplicative effect of tourism in the Buratau State National Park and its impact on the regional development. The second article addressed the ecological aspect, exploring the carrying capacity of the Katon Karagay and the balance between tourism load and the preservation of natural ecosystems. The third article focuses on the social dimension, analyzing the perception of the local population towards the development of ecotourism in the Altyn Emel. As a result, the dissertation covers the key elements of sustainable tourism: economic, ecological, and social, confirming the relevance of the research and its alignment with the stated topic. The purpose and objectives of the dissertation correspond to its topic. The research systematically achieves its objectives, fully aligning with the concept of the topic. The purpose of the dissertation is to assess the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities in Kazakhstan's national parks and determine their contribution to sustainable tourism development. To achieve this goal, the following objectives were completed. First, analyzing theoretical approaches to assessing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities. Second, studying the current state of tourism and recreational activities in Kazakhstan national parks. Third, identifying the key economic, social, and environmental impacts of tourism development in national parks. Fourth, determining the main factors influencing the sustainable development of tourism in Kazakhstan national parks. And the last, developing recommendations to enhance the effectiveness of tourist and recreational activities, considering sustainable development principles. All sections or provisions of the dissertation are logically interconnected and have a scientifically grounded consistency. The structure of the dissertation complies with modern academic requirement and has been published in accordance with all standards and in a Q2 ranked journal indexed in Web of Science and Scopus. The new solutions, principles, methods proposed by the author are justified and evaluated in comparison with existing solutions, and the critical analysis is present. The researcher has critically analyzed the works of both international and Kazakhstani scholars, particularly in assessing the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreational activities in national parks and their contribution to sustainable tourism development. The study compares and evaluates existing methods and principles based on modern approaches and technologies. The principle of scientific novelty. The scientific results and findings are entirely novel. The novelty of the research is demonstrated through modern methods of monitoring the sustainable development of ecotourism in the Buratau, Alt Nemel, and Katon-Karagay state national parks based on local community perceptions, assessing the multiplicative effect in national parks, and maintaining a balance between nature conservation and visitor flow to support sustainable development. The conclusions of the dissertation are entirely novel. Through the analysis of foreign and domestic scientific studies, the application of their methodologies, the researcher has assessed the multiplicative effect of tourist and recreation activities in national parks and determined their contribution to sustainable development. The technical, technological, economic, or management solutions presented in the dissertation are entirely novel. The research employs scientifically innovative and substantiated methods for data analysis and processing, including mathematical analysis, calculation of recreational load, and key algorithms for creating new job opportunities. Justification of the main conclusions. All main conclusions are based on scientifically significant evidence and are supported by a substantial volume of primary data. The proposed full and accurate use of official statistical data related to the research problem, mathematical calculations, cartographic materials, and the results of survey of potential consumers and interviews with stakeholders. The data is reliable and the conclusions are not subject to doubt. 7. The main provisions for the defense. The researcher has proposed 3 key findings in the dissertation. First, the tourism expenditure and the crisis of the Buratau National Park have a significant multiplicative effect on stimulating the local economy through direct, indirect, and induced impacts, which is demonstrated using input-output models and social accounting methods. The second, the successful development of ecotourism in Alt Nemel National Park is possible with the active participation of the local community in tourism initiatives and the development of strategies that ensure balance between ecological integrity, social benefits, and the economic stability. Third, evaluating and implementing the standards of permitted recreational load as seen in the Katon-Karagay National Park enables minimizing the negative impact on the park's ecosystems while ensuring high visitor levels and harmonious tourism development. Principle of reliability. The choice of methodology is justified and clearly described. The methodologies used in the dissertation research were selected according to the characteristics of the studied objects and their role in sustainable tourism development. The first article examines the methodology for determining the tourism capacity of Katon-Karagay National Park. The second article applies an economic model of the multiplicative effect to analyze the impact of tourism in Buratau National Park. And the third article focuses on the sustainable development of ecotourism in Alt Nemel National Park. Thus, in each article, the choice of methodology is based on the specific characteristics of the research object and the task aimed at ensuring the sustainable development of Kazakhstan national parks, making these methods well-founded and adapted to real conditions. And the eighth, the results of the dissertation work have been obtained using modern scientific research methods and data processing technologies as evidenced by the approaches presented in the articles. And the theoretical conclusions, models, relationships, and patterns presented in the articles have been confirmed through experimental research conducted by authors. For example, first, Katon-Karagay National Park, balancing nature and visitors for sustainable development, applied a multidimensional methodology, including empirical data, recreational load, calculations, and environmental monitoring. Buratau State National Park, assessing the multiplier effect of national parks, examine the economic multiplicative effect of tourism using input-output models. And third, Alt Nemel National Park, sustainable development of ecotourism in Alt Nemel National Park, conducted surveys 201 households into villages, interviews, focus groups, and field studies. Thus, in each article, the conclusions and patterns proposed by the authors have been empirically validated, making them scientifically justified and applicable in practice. Important statements are supported by reference to relevant, reliable scientific literature. The list of references is sufficient for the literature review. The total number of references, including through articles, is 139. The source used are adequate for the literature review because they encompass a wide range of scientific approaches, methodologies, and concepts necessary to substantiate the research objectives. practical value principle. The dissertation holds theoretical significance as the discussed articles demonstrate the contribution of theoretical approaches in the field of sustainable tourism development and national park management. In the work on ecotourism development in Alt Nemir National Park, the functional zoning and GIS technologies are utilized, highlighting the importance of theoretical knowledge in developing sustainable tourism routes and reducing anthropogenic impact. The dissertation has high practical significance, as a result obtained during the research can be directly applied in the development and implementation of effective strategies for sustainable tourism in Kazakhstan's national parks. The practical recommendations presented in the article are new, as they are based on unique approaches adapted to the context of Kazakhstan's national parks. The proposed measures are based on the new methodological and practical approaches that were not previously applied in management tourism in Kazakhstan national parks. The quality of writing and design. The quality of academic writing is high, and the work is independently completed. The dissertation addresses specific scientific issues, and its logically structure is clear. The content and structure of the dissertation comply with the standards for the presentation of dissertation for the degree Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in the revealed field. So the comments on the dissertation, there are no objections, and the scientific level of the doctoral candidate's article demonstrates a high degree of original and scientific significance, fully complying with the requirements for defending the dissertation in the form of series of articles. So in the conclusion, I recommend awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in the educational program 6D09022 Tourism to Sapieva Akhmaral Zhinspaevna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gulbaran, for you excellent translated. According to the review, there are no comments on the dissertation work. I now invite the second official reviewer, Miroslav Mika, habilitated doctor and head of the Department of Tourism and Health Resort Management at the Institute of Geography and Spatial Management and Jagiellonian University. You, please.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present the main thoughts coming from the review of the dissertation by Sapieva Akhmaral Zhinspaevna. The aim of the dissertation was to assess the multiplicative effect of tourism and recreational activities in selected national parks of Kazakhstan. A quantitative assessment of the multiplicative effect of tourism expenditures was conducted using the input-output model. The dissertation is structured as a compilation of 3 articles. These papers were published in journal ranked in the first or second quartile by impact factor according to journal citation reports. The first work focuses on the economic dimension, investigating the multiplicative impact of tourism in Buratai National Nature Park and its influence on regional progress and development. The second one concentrates on the environmental perspective, assessing the carrying capacity of Katon-Karagay National Park and searching for equilibrium between tourist influx and the protection of natural ecosystems. The third article highlights the social facet, examining local communities' attitudes toward ecotourism and nature tourism initiatives in Aktel Emele National Park. The objective, findings, results, and the recommendations of this research align with the dissertation topics, since each of the articles addresses key elements of its subject. The PhD dissertation by Akhmaral Sapieva advances current knowledge and practice. It provides insight and new perspective on the economic relations of national parks in Kazakhstan with their original surroundings. The scientific quality of articles is good and satisfactory. The research is rooted in contemporary scientific approaches, includes original methodologies, employs interdisciplinary perspective, and targets issues of sustainable tourism development in national parks. The findings represent significant value and can be used in management and shaping development strategies of national parks of Kazakhstan, state and national nature parks. Coming to conclusion, in my opinion, Sapieva Akhmaral Zhinspaevna's scientific contribution is substantial and meets requirements for a PhD dissertation research presented as a series of articles. All 3 works embody a high scientific standards They address current issues in sustainable tourist development, utilize modern quantitative and qualitative research methods, incorporate interdisciplinary approaches by merging economic, environmental, and social analysis, and propose practically applicable solutions. Finally, I'm fully convinced that Sapieva Kamala Zenizbayevna deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialization of tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mikoslavny. According to the review, there are no comments on the dissertation work. The dissertation was published on the university's website 1 month in advance. Feedback and reviews were given on the dissertation. Now let's move on the general discussion. Who would like to give an opinion for this defense? Please, dear colleagues, dear participants of Dissertation Council, who would you like to give an opinion? Maybe Lina John? Very interesting to know your opinion about this defense.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a well-organized defense, and for the doctoral defense itself, I think the Ms. Kamara Sapieva, he really do a good job, delivered an excellent presentation, and actually she addressed all the questions very clearly. And I think I highly agree what the reviewer said, and I think in my opinion, she should pass on her doctorate defense. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
Who to give an opinion? Else? Yakina Ipovich, maybe you say several words about this defense. Okay. Dr. Azlizam Aziz, are you hear us? Thank you.
Dr. Azizam wrote that he has some technical issues with audio.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. If there are no more speakers, then let's move on the next step, secret voting. The voting is carried out online by all members of the dissertation committee and official reviewers. We now proceed to the secret ballot conducted online via the Google platform. The scientific secretary will send voting links to your Gmail addresses. Should technical issues arise, we will pause briefly to address them. If anyone does not receive the link, please inform me immediately. I remind you to refrain from disclosing your voting decision publicly. A short break is announced for voting. Please remain in the Zoom conference and submit your votes promptly. According to the regulation of the Dissertation Council of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, there are 3 opinions for the decision of the Dissertation Council. First, to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Second, to submit the dissertation for redefense. Third, to refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. You need to choose one of the opinion provided. The decision of the Council to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy is considered accepted if 3/4 or more of the participants in the voting have voted for it. The decision of the Council to refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy or Doctor of Science is a field in considered adopted if 2/3 or more of the people participating in the voting vote for it. Dear Council members, who didn't receive the link? Can you dear council members, can you confirm these votes?
Did you vote it? Could you please confirm?
I can confirm voting.
Dear council members, we didn't receive one vote. Maybe anyone does not receive the link. Okay. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, all votes have been received. I now invite the Scientific Secretary to announce the result of the secret online voting. Please, Ayjan Yazbekov.
Dear members of Dissertation Council and official reviewers, out of 6 members of Dissertation Council and 2 reviewers, 8 participated in the online voting. According to the results of the online voting, the decision to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy was supported by 8 persons. So 100% is for this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayjan Yazbekovna. Based on the completed defense and the results of the secret online voting, the Dissertation Council for the group of specialties, education programs AD07, 304 land management, AD07, 302 geoinformatics, AD07, 303 cartography, AD 11101 tourism, AD 01503 geography, AD 05202 geography, and AD 05208 ecology at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University has decided to award Sapieva Akmaral Zhizbaevna the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the specialty 6D 090200 tourism. Congratulations, Akmaral Zhizbaevna. The applicant is now invited to give the final word. Please.
I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my scientific supervisors, Dr. Sapиева and Dr. Kamarad, for the unwavering support throughout my doctoral studies, the insightful guidance, valuable recommendations, and the high academic standards greatly contributed to the successful execution of my research. It has been to a privilege to work under the mentorship, and I am sincerely thankful for the dedication and the encouragement. I am also sincerely grateful to the Dissertation Council for the attention to my work, as well as for the consecutive comments and the recommendations that helped improve the academic quality of my dissertation. My special thanks go to the official review for the source examination of the dissertation, the thoughtful feedback, and the professional evaluation of the research relates. I deeply appreciate the contribution of the opponents for the critical and analyze meaningful question and valuable remarks, which significantly enhance my advancing of the research subject. I would also like to thank all specialists and experts who participate in the evaluation and the discussion of my work at various stages of its development. I am thankful to my colleagues and the Department of the Recreational Geography and the Tourism for the constant support and the collaboration during my PhD journey. Finally, I extend my heartfelt grateful to my family for being my source of strength and motivation. Their continuous support has been the driving force behind all of my achievements. Thanks.
Thank you, Dear members of the Dissertation Council, we haven't finished our work yet. Now we proceed to review the two documents related to Akmaral Zhenizpayevna dissertation. The conclusion and the classification characteristics, which will be discussed separately and approved together. Let's begin with the draft conclusion. You have received the draft conclusion prepared for this defense. I invite you to examine it and share your observation. Do you have suggestions for this conclusion, dear colleagues, dear members, council members?
In my opinion, the conclusions are okay, so I'm supporting the project.
Thank you. If there are no future suggestions, I propose we adopt the draft conclusion as a basis for our final statement. Agreed? Okay. We will now move to the second document, the classification characteristic of the dissertation. The classification characteristic includes the character of thesis outcomes, novelty, value, and implementation of the dissertation results, as well as their relation to planned research and recommendation for broader use. Let us address each category systematically. I invite council members to share their assessments of their characteristic based on the dissertation and the defense presented today. First, let's begin with the character of thesis outcomes. Does the council consider the results to be new and systematically substantiated, addressing a significant scientific or applied problem on contributing of the development of the field? Who would like to comment on whether the result align with opinion 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3?
Your colleagues choose, please.
We should choose one point.
Нельзя вот еще шире делать масштаб на всю
Dear colleagues, 1.1, new scientific-based results that solve an important scientific problem. 1.2 contain new scientifically based results, the use of which provides a solution to an important applied problem. 1.3 new scientifically substantiated theoretical and experimental results, the totality of which is important for the development of specific scientific areas. What do you think about this?
So, in my opinion, I would suggest 1.2.
1.2, okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any suggestion? Okay, 1.2. Next, level of novelty of dissertation results. 2.1, the results are new. 2.2, some results are not new. 2.3, a significant part of the results is not new.
So, as a reviewer, I would say 2.1.
Да,
2.1.
результаты новые.
Да, results are new.
2.1. Да, 2.1.
2.1, okay. 3, value of the dissertation results, high, satisfactory, unsatisfactory.
3.1.
Yes, I agree.
3.1, okay. 4, connection of the dissertation topic with planetary.
В рамках программы, да?
4.1.
4.1.
Yeah, I think
Do you have
so.
any suggestions?
Including state and regional significance. Yeah, 4.1.
Да, да, 4.1.
4.1. 5. Level of implementation of the dissertation results with supplies significance. At the international level, at the intersectoral level, on an industry scale within the organization.
Intersectoral level. I would say it's fine. 5.2. It's intersectoral level. I don't know if you agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay. 5.2. And last, recommendation for the expanded use of the results of a dissertation of practical importance. Required extended use, doesn't require extended use.
Extended use, I would say.
Yeah, extended use. Yeah.
6.1.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your thorough evaluations. Do council members agree with this summary? Are there any amendments to the proposed classification before we proceed to vote on the conclusion? With no future suggestion, I propose that we adopt both the draft conclusion and the classification characteristic as the official documents of this defense. Please vote of their joint approval. Who is in favor? Who is in favor? Okay. Who is against? Will be submitted to the relevant authorities. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, reviewers, consultants, and participants, before we conclude, are there any final comments or points from the Council? Okay. Hearing no, let me summarize. Based on the defense, the discussion, and the results of the secret online voting, the Dissertation Council has decided to award Sapiyeva to degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations once again. On behalf of the Council, I extend my sincere gratitude to all members for your rigorous evaluations, to the scientific consultants Aktimbaeva, Alias Kandrikom, and Professor Tamara Raz, and to the official reviewers, Mutalieva, Lalia Maratna, and Dr. Miroslav Mika for your valuable insight. Special thanks go to Akmaral Zhinsbaevna for her commendable work, and to our scientific secretary, Musagalieva Ayjan Yazbekova, for her excellent coordination. This concludes the agenda of today's meeting. The session of the Dissertation Council is now official closed. Thank you all for your time and contributions, and I wish you a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues,
Yeah.
dear friends, thank you for your time. Thank you, grateful for your time, and I hope we will visit in our university. Welcome, and so welcome for your time, for your review, and especially Lila John, your activity in this dissertation council. Thank you very much, all dissertation partners, and I hope we will visit our university, and желаю удачи. Wish you success, and hope we will have a great project with our partners. Thank you very much. Bye bye. See you later.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Поздравляем.
Have a nice day. Thank you.